The first thing to do when you're configuring peak cut is to make sure that the central controller input is configured correctly. You can do that either from the touch screen or you can do it from the initial settings tool. This is the AE200 initial settings tool, but it looks essentially the same if you're doing it for the newer style AEC400 or EWC50. So the external input setting is set for demand, and this is a level signal, so it's a maintained 12 or 24 volts DC through the CN5 connector, the input on the back of the central controller, and you use the PAC YG10HA wiring harness to connect that. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the configuration in ICCW. So this is ICCW for the AEC 400, but again, it functions essentially the same. So I've gone into the maintenance functions, and now I'm going to configure peak cut. So I've got all of the central controllers here that are underneath my master central controller, and I've got this configured for external input, but what does that actually look like? So you select your peak cut method. There's a bunch of different methods. You can use the external input, which is at CN5. It's what we just configured with the initial settings tool software. Or you can actually have it look at the input of a different central controller on your network. So in this instance, I just want to use the external input. And then I'm going to start by looking at the outdoor unit. So we can control outdoor unit, indoor unit, or both at the same time. And the way that we do that is by selecting outdoor unit. And these are the different outdoor units that I can configure individually. But if I want to have them operate the same way, I'm going to collect all. And then I've got capacity. So I can limit the capacity in increments of 10% per control level. So I get 5 different control levels. So 0 is no input. And then the pinout on that document that I sent earlier, or in the manual for the central controller, has the pinout for the PAC YG10HA. And so as we add that DC power to pins 1 through 4, it will add the capacity limit based on how we configure it here. The other thing to note is control time. So this is per 30-minute increments. So essentially a 3-minute capacity limit per 30 minutes is essentially 10% of an hour, the 6 minutes, 20%, 9 minutes would be 30%, 50%, and then 100% of the hour. So if we want to limit the capacity for the entire hour, we would configure it like so. To configure the indoor units, it's essentially the same process. We have different controls though. So we can select an offset of plus or minus 4 degrees for the set point. So we're still in thermal on, we're not changing modes, not turning the unit off, but we're just increasing or decreasing the set point so that it's calling for less capacity from the outdoor unit. We can force it into fan mode. So we can say, we still want you to circulate the air. We don't want the building to become stale, but we want you to close the LEV and eventually go to a thermo off. So there's no beneficial heating or cooling. And you can also select off, which would just shuts the unit off so long as that stage of peak cut is configured. And again, the control time is 6 minutes, 9 minutes, 15 minutes, or 30 minutes. So to select that for the entire time, we would select 30 minutes. And there we go. So that is peak cut for both indoor unit, outdoor unit. And there's another setting where we can use the temperature difference between the set point and the rooms to force it to come back on. So you can leave this at null, which means that it ignores that difference. Or we can increase this from 6 degrees all the way up to 18 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me and let me know.